Today we're going to go back into the Old Testament of the Bible because we're about to switch to the Kings. So it's important to know what the prophecies were before we see what happened. So in Micah, it says, "But you, Bethlehem in Ephrathah, small to be among Judah's clans, but from you will emerge for me someone to be a ruler of Israel, whose emerging is of old, of ancient days. Therefore, he will give them up until a time when the one who's going to give birth has given birth, and those who are left of his brothers come back to the Israelites. He will stand and shepherd with God's vigour, in the majesty of the name of Yahweh his God. They will live, because now he'll be great, as far as the ends of the earth. And this will mean things are well." So, it's a prophecy that from Bethlehem in Ephrathah, which is near Jerusalem, will be a great ruler. And it also talks about having to wait for a pregnant woman to give birth. And it talks about shepherds as well. So there's all sorts of complicated things that actually all come together with the Christmas story. So with lots of things coming together, I'm going to teach you how to do some knitting. Now, this isn't knitting backwards and forwards to make a jumper. This is knitting with just 3 stitches going round and spiralling together to make a cord, which we can then take that cord and wrap it like tinsel around our Christmas trees. To do this, you need some wool. You could have just plain coloured wool, or you could have multicoloured wool. And you need 2 what are called double pointed knitting needles. So they've got a point at both ends. It doesn't matter what size knitting needles you use. These are quite small, thin ones. If you're using thicker wool, it'll be easier to use thicker knitting needles. If what I'm saying is a bit complicated, you can stop it and pause the video, or you can have a look for other YouTube videos. First, I'm going to cast on. I cast on by wrapping the wool around my thumb, poking the needle through, then wrapping the short end around, and then putting that loop back through. The first one always looks like it doesn't quite work, but you just do it again. You wrap your thumb around, put the needle through, wrap this side round, and wrap that side round, and pull it through. The really important thing when knitting is not to pull it too tight. You want it a little bit loose. So you wrap it round your thumb, poke the needle through, wrap this side over, wrap that side over, and pull it through. When you've got 3 stitches on, then we're going to do something you don't usually do in knitting. We're going to slide it to the other end, and we're going to knit from this end of the needle. So we need our other needle. You're going to poke it through the side that's facing you. So on this side, between the 2 needles, you're going to poke it diagonally through that first loop, so the loop is going around both needles. Then you take the long end that's attached to the ball of wool, you wrap that around your needle and loop it through. This is called knit stitch. If you've not done it before and you can't quite see what I'm doing, just Google how to do a knit stitch. I'm going to knit all 3 stitches, so that you've got them on this needle now. Now we're going to slide them to the other end and do the same thing again and knit all 3 stitches. And As you see, it's starting to grow already. So we slide it to the end and knit the stitches. Slide it to the end and knit the stitches. Slide it to the end and knit the stitches. Slide it to the end and knit the stitches. Slide it to the end and knit the stitches. And you can see it's growing pretty quickly. The longer you make it, the more you'll have to wrap around your tree. I'm going to do some more quickly and then show you it. So you can see how after only a couple of minutes it's growing quite long, and once you get quite fast at it, you can knit while you're watching TV or doing something else. And you can see how, if you look around, this makes a really nice cord that you can then put up on the Christmas trees.